I'm Megan.
I'm CJ.
And I'm Erica.
And this is the Her Podcast. Today we have entrepreneur, life coach, and mama Courtney Quinn on the podcast. You may know her on Instagram as Coaching with Court, where her energy and light shine through so bright. And let me tell you, she lit up the podcast studio, you guys. Courtney shares what led her to her path as a life coach, how her childhood impacted her life choices, how exactly she helps her clients remove blocks and live their best lives, and what those common blocks actually are. We are talking about micro habits, morning routines, how she sets herself up for success, and how we all can too. We cover feeling like we have to choose between motherhood and success in the workplace, how we can have both, and how we can truly find alignment in life. You guys, this conversation was so good. We went all over the place in such a beautiful way. You are going to want to turn it up, grab a cup of coffee, and dig in.
So excited. Before we get into everything with you, I have a very important question.
I'm listening.
Is your cup as good as the Stanley, or is it better?
See, I don't know because I've never had a Stanley. You don't know what you don't know. So to me, it's amazing.
Because I really like the whole pink situation.
That's why.
What brand is it?
Simply Modern.
Okay.
Amazon. $35.
Score.
I think Amy Clausen did like a... You know Clausen Design Co?
Yes.
I think she did like a lineup of 3 different kinds of cups.
Yes.
Oh.
I think this was one of the brands, and she said this was her favorite.
So I like how it's closed completely on the top. And my question to you is, how, if you put ice in it, how long does it stay in there?
I've never put ice in it because it stays that cold.
Oh, see, I want a whole tray of ice in my cold cup.
I believe it would stay really cold. My water stays cold
All day.
all day.
Well, and you know
Great.
what I like even more, because we live in a cold climate in Canada, is that when you put water in it and you leave it in your car in minus 40 in a Stanley, it doesn't freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a bonus to me that you don't come back to frozen water.
Yeah.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, that's true, because it's like insulated.
Yes.
No, it's just so cute. And I'm like, I like that. I like that it's all pink.
Yeah, I love it too. I wanted to go against the grain. And
Hey, you got to sometimes just stand out a little.
that's right.
Right?
I was like, no Stanley for me.
Very
happening.
expensive.
They are so expensive. I mean, still $35 for a mug. I was like, really? But I drink a lot of
investment.
water out of it, so it's worth it.
Totally worth it.
Absolutely.
Nick makes fun of me for my Stanley, and then last week we were at the lake, and all week he like used it. He was like putting ice in it and water. He's
Right.
like, it just like tastes better than a plastic cup.
Yeah.
And it keeps things cold. And I was like,
My husband literally uses mine too. I'm just like,
You're like, get
you're
out
like,
of
it
here.
is better.
It's a
you know,
worth the
but
investment.
I'm happy to know that this one is good too.
It's like a Yeti. You can get fake
Yeah, Yetis
Yetis,
are
but
good.
they are worth it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you get a fake one and it doesn't work. It doesn't keep it cold. It doesn't
Yeah.
keep it hot.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's worth the investment.
I think so. No, I just was like eyeing it up, and I was like,
A very important question.
Like literally had to start there. Okay, so we all have so many questions. But I think to like tee it up and to start with, like, you're a life coach.
I am.
Yes. And I think that when people hear life coach, some know and they're like, ooh, yes, I know what that is. And others are like, this like ambiguous term. And they're like,
Right.
what is a life coach? So I'm going to go backwards to like the beginning of your story after it. But I'm like, can you tell us first, like, what is a life coach?
Absolutely. So in short form, a life coach is somebody who gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And we do that by breaking through what has been holding you back, right? If we didn't have limiting beliefs, if we didn't have hurdles and things that were stopping us, then we would all be reaching our goals. But we all have those beliefs. We all have things that are not working for us. So we break those down to help you get there faster.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You made that so succinct. That's perfect. That's amazing.
Simplified version.
Literally. Okay, but now I'm like, I want to dive into your story. I want to know a little bit more about like your upbringing, your childhood, you know, let's go into your teenage years, your adulthood, whatever it needs to be to lead us up to like what brought you to a place where you wanted to be a life coach.
Yeah.
And how you found out about that, like how your basically childhood impacted the direction you wanted to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and I think my papa, who is now gone, I think was my life coach without even knowing it for all of my life. But I grew up with split parents. My mom was 18 when she had me, and my dad was 23. They were together for about 4 months when my mom got pregnant, so very young. And then they split up when I was about 2 years old. And eventually my dad moved to Winnipeg, and my mom was a single parent. So she had my papa and my grandma for everything, basically. So they helped raise me my entire life. And my dad, he moved away, and we had a relationship. I was like a daddy's girl when I was younger. And then he got into addictions with alcohol and was very much into that. And we still had a relationship, but we separated along the way. And our relationship...
Would this have been in like your childhood and teenage years that this happened?
Yeah, I think it was the entire time. It just started to become like, I was aware of it as I got older, probably around grade 5, 6 and moving up. So my mom and I actually moved to Winnipeg for 1 year, and then we moved back. I'm from Flin Flon, Manitoba, by the way.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't really matter.
I love
I was like, whoa, Winnipeg.
Okay.
You've been there?
No, but I love the name. I'm from Flin Flon.
Flin Flon. Very small town. But anyway, so we moved away, and then we came back after a year because she found a boyfriend and it didn't work out, and then we came back. So I was with a very young single mom, and then a dad who had addictions with alcohol. So it was a whirlwind of a childhood, but with my grandma and my papa, who were actually also separated. So I had like split parents and split grandparents, but I had a lot of love.
Yeah.
Like I was the only child. I was the only grandchild for about 8 years, and I was like so loved all the time. But my dad's and I relationship really grew apart until recently. But my whole life, I felt like I was from this small town where it kind of felt stuck for a lot of the time. I felt like there was something more, and everybody was just doing the same thing. And not that that's wrong. I still have family that lives there. I still have friends that live there, and it's all amazing. And I love going home. But there was so much pull for me to leave and do something. And I felt like there was so much more for me out there. So I just fast forwarding, going into the University of Saskatchewan for kinesiology, and I wanted to be a physiotherapist. I worked under the physiotherapist, and I absolutely hated it. So then I ended up becoming a personal trainer because I loved fitness, I loved health and all of that. So I got my minor in nutrition, and from there I started my personal training business, and then online health and fitness coaching business. And then from there, moving into life coaching, what happened was I started to notice with my clients on every single call, every single check-in, we were not talking about anything that had to do with fitness and nutrition. There was something so much deeper that was holding them back. We were talking about their career, their relationships, everything else. And I was noticing that this was just starting to become a mask for their real unhappiness. And so that's actually what prompted me to become a life coach and move into that, was that like deepness of there is so much more here, and we need to go deeper, and we need to do better to help these women and these people basically, change these habits, not just for short term, but for long term. So that's what prompted me to move into there.
Wow, that's amazing.
That was a long-winded story.
That was not long-winded. We were just getting started. Prepare for more.
So were you primarily training women? Like, would you say that was more of your target audience and demographic who was coming to you?
Not in the beginning. Like when I first started personal training, no, but now I am definitely geared to women.
I would love to go back to actually your childhood and dig into that more if you're open to discussing your growing up years, what it was like for you, growing up with split parents. Like obviously you said that there was like a lot of love. You had a distant relationship from your father for a while and then reconnected. What sort of was that journey looking like for you? Like how did you overcome, was there any trauma sort of that you
She's like,
I'm like, I don't want to assume.
Little T or big T, what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want?
All of it. Give us all the details. But what are some of the things that happened for you in your childhood that afterwards as an adult, you probably had to like life coach through someone else or through your dad? Like walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, there was definitely trauma. There was a lot of abandonment, I would say, right? Because my dad was, we have a completely different relationship now. He's actually was just at my house babysitting for 3 days. So whirlwind. But there was a big abandonment trauma for sure, because he wasn't really there. He, made promises that he never was really able to keep, and he wasn't able to show up in those areas. And I always wanted that, right? You're like craving that all the time. And so there was definitely that abandonment part. And then my mom was a single mom. She was so young and she was single. So she was trying to be 20 years old, not even 30 years old, and live her life, but also take care of me. So I was just like, sometimes I felt like this little girl who was running around being like, someone take care of me, someone look at me, someone pay attention to me. I remember coming home, especially with my mom, she would be downstairs smoking when you could smoke inside, and that was like the normal thing. And she would be on the computer just doing whatever it is that she wanted to do, and I just was a child who craved attention.
So when she had you and she's 18, I mean, really, that is so young.
So young.
Would you say that you kind of grew up together? What was the dynamic like
my
there?
best friend.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
We fought a lot when I was younger. We fought so much. There was probably multiple times where I would come home and say, I'm leaving, I'm going away, I'm going to live with my grandma, I'm going to live with my best friend. And she'd be like, okay, like you go, the door only swings one way. I remember her saying that and I was like, oh shit.
She's calling your bluff.
Yeah, she absolutely did.
Was there, and I mean, at 18 years old and in your early 20s, obviously she wants to date and stuff like that. What was the dynamic there with boyfriends and that kind of thing?
Yeah, there was a couple.
Yeah.
There was a couple. She was very, she made a very conscious choice of who I was meeting and who I wasn't meeting.
Yeah.
I'm sure. There was a few in there that, you saw and you didn't like. And same with my dad as well, just because you're in that space of single parents, right? So, and then she ended up reconnecting with a childhood best friend, and they are happily married, and they've been together for I think 16 years now.
Oh,
and
that's so cute.
I never thought I would say this, but like my mom has a marriage now that I can strive for.
And did you ever have any other siblings?
No,
Only child?
only child, step siblings.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
On both sides,
Yeah.
and then not on my dad's side now. It's very complicated.
Okay.
We've got some layers there.
Yes.
I'm curious, how far away is Winnipeg and Flin Flon?
8 hours.
8 hours. Okay. So how often were you seeing Dad?
Once a year, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you saw him, did you see any of the alcohol addiction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
What that looked like?
Child of
and felt
alcoholics
like-
over here as well.
Yes.
Do you want to go like childhood or like my most recent memory?
Oh.
Completely up to you. I'm just always so curious as to like how, like, what did you see? Did you understand? When did you start understanding like, okay, Daddy's being weird or Daddy's sleeping and he's not supposed to be? And like, were you there on your own? Was Mom in Winnipeg as well? Like, I'm so curious on the dynamic.
Yeah. My first memory of being scared, which I don't even know if it actually ties into that, but he was in the ER. He was in the ER. Remember, I have like this very vivid visual of him he was in the ER, but what happened was he got into a fight at the bar, essentially, and my mom pulled me out of bed and we went to the hospital, and I just remember like the hospital in Flin Flon, you look at the emergency room from the waiting room, which is very weird, but I remember him being on that bed and like seeing him there, and that's the first memory. And then the last memory that I have, where before he started to really turn things around for us and for him obviously, was a couple years ago at Thanksgiving, and he just way overdid it, and I ended up having to clean up his mess later that night. Don't need to go into graphic details, but I was sharing a room with him, and it did not turn out well at all.
Yeah.
And
What was it for your dad that made him be like, I need to like get it together?
I still don't really know the answer to this. I don't know if I'm ready to know the answer to it, because there's a lot of anger when he did decide, which is really weird. But the day that he called me, I remember being so mad, being like, why now?
Yeah.
And
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm sure it has things to do with me, but there wasn't like that time that I'm talking about at Thanksgiving. That should have been it.
Yeah.
For me, because that was the point where I was like, we're not having a relationship anymore. Like, this is it for me. And thankfully, I decided against that. But I still don't know what that actual turning point for him was. But I think that a lot of those things building up, it just became, I'm sure something happened, that it was rock bottom. And this was before Parker, actually.
Okay, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. I wondered because sometimes babies and grandkids can be like a big motivator.
Now I can't
right?
get rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's frustrating and traumatizing, and I understand the anger so much. Like, why now? Because it's like, I've seen rock bottom so many times.
Yeah.
Like, your rock bottom has happened so many times.
Absolutely.
Why wasn't that rock bottom for you?
Why wasn't it me? Like,
Yeah.
what else did you need? And like, who could have been more important than you and I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your only daughter, your only child. What could have happened? And like, how come I had to go through all of that pain, and then now you're deciding?
Yeah.
So I'm still not sure, but
Yeah.
Oh, and that's okay to work through that, right? As
Yeah.
you know, but feeling like you weren't enough,
yeah, absolutely.
right, is probably what you were feeling. I think probably we have some of our listeners that are listening that maybe have a strained relationship with a parent, or are trying to reconcile with a parent, or have gone through that process. So I'm curious what that looked like for you, and any advice that you'd have for someone who's looking to, you know, reconcile that relationship, and how you've set boundaries in place and like work through that together.
I think it would have been really easy for me to just say, I'm angry and I don't want anything to do with this, and not have an open mind and just kind of shut it down. It would have been really easy for me to do that. But keeping that open mind and saying, hey, this person is struggling too, and their intentions are not what you think they are, and he's trying his best, so let's see where it goes. And I'm not gonna lie, I kept waiting for the shoe to drop. Every single time. Every time I see him, I was like, okay.
Are you still?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not. But I just had that open mind, and we took it slow.
Yeah.
It was really like building a new relationship, to be honest, right? We just took it really slow, and I didn't forgive him for a while, but I allowed myself to not forgive him. He had like a formal apology to me and sat me down, and I was so uncomfortable. I wanted it to end so bad, because I was like, I don't want to forgive you. But he said, you don't have to forgive me. And I said, okay, I'm not yet. So I think with that permission not to, internally, I've just started to forgive him, and he's shown up. He's shown up every single time. He's shown up when I needed him. It's actions over words, and I've allowed him to show up when he needed to, and when he wanted to, and when I needed him to. So allowing that person to show up and to show you, not tell you that something's different, made a world of a difference.
Can you speak to how you got to that place? Because I instantly just like feel that uncomfortableness in my
Ditto.
right? Like, because it is like, I know I've had this conversation with myself, and you know, towards different people, of like, allow them the opportunity to show me, or like allow them the opportunity to XYZ. And it's so uncomfortable. And like you said, it's easier to just be like, I'm fucking done. Mm-hmm. How did you get to how did you navigate through that?
The not forgiving yet, or being with them?
Allowing him the opportunity to show you that he has changed, and he can be healthy, and he can be here for you after a lifetime of not showing up.
That's a good question. I think it comes to feel the fear and do it anyway. It's super uncomfortable, but those are the things that are going to help you grow, right? Those are the things that are going to push you to that next level in anything. This is really uncomfortable. This is really hard. I want to run away from this in every single capacity that I have. I don't want this, but what's on the other side has to be better. And just trusting in that, and knowing that this is really painful, but I know that there's something better on the other side, and he's trying, and that's okay.
How do you support yourself through that, feeling the fear? Like, I just want to dig really, like, are you journaling? Are you going to therapy? Like, because so often when we feel the fear, we shut down, or we push it away, or we're like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do this, or this hurts too much. I can't do it. How do you support yourself through that?
I am journaling every day. I am meditating.
When you're journaling, like, what are you journaling? Like, do you got prompts?
We are like,
do you got questions? Are you just like brain dumping? Like, tell us the nitty gritty.
I have it all. So when I don't know what I want to journal about, I start with I feel.
So good.
Just I feel. And whatever it is, let yourself not judge yourself for whatever it is that you're feeling. I am really, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. I'm pissed off, whatever it is that you are feeling. I'm super happy, amazing. I feel, and something's got to come out. We know you have a feeling, whether you want to think you don't or not.
Do you keep the journals, or are you burning them, or are you ripping them up? Because I will like dump on paper and then fucking rip it up and throw it away.
I've kept them for a while, and then I like to go back and just be like, whoa, what are you doing? I've kept one from 7 years ago, which was my very first journal. And that's actually where I started manifesting and getting into the personal development world. And it's really cool for me to look back and see, wow, what I journaled about, what I visualized about is now what I have.
I was going to say, what did you manifest back then that
my
you're
whole,
sitting in?
my whole life, everything. And I think that that's really cool. And then some I have burned, some I have just thrown out because I just don't need anymore. And it just depends on what's in there. All the juiciness.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, friends, if you have a sweet tooth like me, I have to tell you about the most delicious and satisfying chocolate that I have become obsessed with. Cult chocolate bars are made of pure organic dark chocolate, loaded with antioxidants, minerals, and healthy fats. And they are also dairy-free. Yay for us lactose intolerant friends. Made right here in Saskatoon, Cult has 6 signature flavors. We've got vanilla, mocha, sea salt, coconut, orange, and mint. And I am currently obsessed with the coconut flavor. I love anything coconut, and this hits so good. And then the sea salt is a close second for me. I'm not joking when I tell you guys that I always have a Cult chocolate bar on hand, both at the studio and at home, but I had that one for my family. And I have to take a moment for the packaging, you guys. This is not your basic chocolate bar. Each flavor has its own beautifully designed packaging, and it is also biodegradable. You can shop each flavor on their website at cultchocolate.ca and use the code HERPODCAST to save 10% off your order. Or they offer a chocolate membership. I mean, sign me up. When you sign up for the Cult monthly subscription, you receive 20% off, free shipping, a yearly birthday gift, and a free bonus surprise feature bar exclusive to the box. Join the Cult at cultchocolate.ca. That's cultchocolate.ca, where you will also find a list of local retailers and find them at Cult Chocolate on Instagram. And remember to use the code HERPODCAST to save.
Okay, journaling. You were saying a list of other things that you do.
Journaling for sure, every single day, meditating, talking to people that I really trust and that I feel safe with. So the first time that my dad came to visit me, for example, after he was, getting sober and going through, all of that, he was coming to visit me for a couple days, and I was really uncomfortable. So I called my best friend from high school, from childhood up, and was like, this is happening. And she knows my story. She knows my dad. She knows my childhood. And I just talked, and she just gave me permission to, not forgive, and to know, like, this is going to suck, and it's okay. And if he, wants to ask for forgiveness, or he tries to apologize, it's okay. It's probably going to happen. But just talking to people that you feel safe with absolutely is a game changer. I just started therapy, so that's really fun.
So good.
Yeah, I'm booking a therapy appointment today, actually.
It's like the beginning stages. You're like, it's fun.
It's so fun. Like when people are like, how was your therapy appointment? Oh, it's just so great.
It's amazing. I'm exhausted.
Awful.
It's really exhausting in the beginning. I don't think people realize how much can come up emotionally, and how much your body has to, has been holding on to.
Like a release.
Yes.
So I have a question. Do you think that you were drawn to fitness to like get rid of some of this feelings and emotions in your body, like without thinking about it? Do you know what I mean?
I've never thought about that, but probably.
I just thought
the
of that
rage
correlation.
has to go somewhere,
right?
Yeah,
because I think unconsciously do things.
Yeah,
right.
How I got into it was I was in high school. I think I was in grade 11. I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up, and my gym teacher, who came up to me, I think I was in grade 11 or 12. I was applying for universities. He's like, you're going to be a personal trainer. I was like, no, I'm not. That's crazy. And then I just went for it. And that was it. But I think what it comes down to is someone was like, you're going to be really good at this thing.
Yeah.
Someone saw me.
Yeah.
Someone was like acknowledging something that I might have been good at, or, could be good at. And I went for it.
So I'm curious, because when you have stories like this, I think oftentimes, we listen to enough podcasts, we have enough conversations, that lots of times there's kind of like, and I'm just going to blanket statement, like almost like 2 paths people can take, which is either like a path to, I want more, I feel like there's more for me, or this is just my life and I'm bound to go down this road as well. So at what point or age were you like, no, there's more for me, especially in the face of what you were dealing with abandonment and, your mom, moving here, there, having different relationships? Like, was there ever a point where you thought this could be my future if I don't push hard or get out of the space I'm in?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't really pinpoint the age, but it was definitely probably early childhood where I knew I didn't want that. And then, seeing what I went through and going through what I went through, seeing my parents and my grandparents, everyone splitting up, I was like, I don't want kids. I don't want kids. I don't want to be in this life. I don't want to do this. And I need to do things my own way. Now, did I know that was necessarily personal development and choosing my path and, going for what I wanted at the time? No, but I knew that I just did not want to fall into that.
Well, and you said your papa was like your life coach. So was he always speaking into your life in a way that was leading you to believe you could be more, that like you could go and become whoever you wanted to?
He was cheering me on no matter what I did, even if he didn't believe. And he had no idea what I was doing for work, but he would talk about it all the time. He would read my emails and send them back and just say, you go girl, like whatever he wanted to say.
Oh my gosh, Papa.
I know. He had no idea what I was doing, but he would talk about it all the time and he was so proud of it. So he was always, since I was little, since I could remember, he was always throwing in little nuggets and little things. And I wanted to go to Thailand when I graduated university and I had $200 in my bank account. And my mom would have canceled my account somehow if she knew that that's what I wanted to do. She would have been like, absolutely not. You're not going. I had $200 in my bank account. The deposit was $200. I called my papa and I was like, hey, I'm going to go to Thailand. And he's like, you go. He's like, we won't tell your mom.
Our little secret.
So did you call mom from Thailand and we're like, hey mom?
After I booked it and I was, I think, a month away or something.
Oh my gosh. What was her reaction?
Now as a mom, I'm like, you are so
Oh
bad.
yeah, it's wild, hey?
I mean, yeah, she was not happy, but
Yeah.
it was already booked and we were going. But yeah, my papa was always like, you do whatever you want to do. And he always, one of his quotes was, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space. So, just go and do, live your life. He was always like, are you living? Are you happy? Are you, just did not care what you were doing, but always wanted you to be happy.
Do you feel now, like in your life coaching, so we know how you've gotten here, do you feel like you're attracting a lot of people with similar trauma to you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes not at all.
Okay.
I think more so I attracted people who are, maybe where I was a couple of years ago and maybe struggling to believe that they can live the life that they want, struggling to kind of believe that they can do whatever it is that's holding them back. But I don't know if it's necessarily the same, like childhood trauma, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it kind of like varies.
Yeah.
So the big issue people are coming with is like, I'm stuck.
I'm stuck. I am waking up to an alarm clock every day where I feel like blah. I don't want to get up. I don't feel fulfilled in what I'm doing. And I feel like I can't get out of my career that I hate. My relationship sucks, but I'm not going to do anything about it. My finances, I'm struggling with, whatever it is, they just feel stuck and they cannot get out, but they know that something more is out there.
What would you say is like the biggest common denominator in the stuckness? Like, is it, I hate my career? Is it like, oh, my relationship is not fulfilling?
In terms of like a category of life?
I guess.
I'm interested, like sometimes, we work with clients in a very different capacity, but I can be like,
These are their pain
this
points.
is like the pain point.
Yeah.
Like for us, we can always pinpoint. It's like people are like, I have no time.
Yeah.
Like
But-
that's the pain point.
But they
that
think
we
they're
discuss.
coming to you with like a different problem and you're like, it's actually the time.
No, I'm
Okay.
saying like across the board, I could like look at every client we've dealt with and be like, I guarantee time
Somewhere in
is
there.
somewhere in there. It's like time is like one of the big pain points.
Yeah, I would say actually time and like time management for sure. People aren't, whether they know it or not, they are not being productive or intentional with their time, and they are just on autopilot, living on autopilot every single day. But in terms of a category, I would actually say health and wellness is probably the biggest thing that people come to me wanting to change, and without wanting to go on a workout plan or a nutrition plan or something like that, but they are not happy in their body, the way that they feel in their body, but they don't know how to get to somewhere that's going to work for them, because everything is 6 days a week and this and that, you know, and you have to restrict and you have to have these calories, and it doesn't work.
So how do you get productive? Like you're saying, people like don't know that their time management, or that they're not
Being
like,
intentional.
being intentional. Like how do you get there? Like what are some steps that you're telling people to take in the beginning to become more intentional?
Do you guys want to go through my process?
Yes. Yes.
Let's do it.
Fun fact,
100%.
guys, I have a call booked with Courtney later this month.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So my aligned action method is my signature method of what I do with clients when I'm working with them one-on-one. Do they know that they're really going through this? Because it's not really step by step, and I'm not like, what is this and then this, but this is the process that we'll work through over a course of a few months. One, you need to get clear on what it is that you want, what is the goal, what is the thing that you're trying to do, but why.
Yeah.
So many people have these goals. I want to make $1 million. I want to do this. I want this relationship. I want more money. I want this career. I want to lose weight, but why? Right? Why are we having that goal? Is that actually something that you want? Is that aligned with you? Or is that what society told you that you should be doing? Is it because everybody and their dog is trying to make $100K or $1 million in their business? Why is that what you want? Because without that connection piece, you're not actually going to have the motivation to do it. Mm-hmm. 2 is the belief energetics aspect of it. What is holding you back? So if you know that you want this and it is true for you, you know why, you have that connection piece. Now we have to go into the blocks, the limiting beliefs, the energetics piece. And this is going to be, you know, breaking through the limiting beliefs, but also tuning into the woo. I like to call it. I like to call myself the perfect balance of the woo and the work.
Love
Oh, that's cute.
I love that.
I like that.
I love me some woo.
Right?
Yes.
Not all, I don't want burnout. I don't want working 12 hours a day, but you guys have seen all my content. We're not just sitting here journaling
Yes.
and letting it come to us. That just doesn't happen. We need to put in action, but I wholeheartedly believe in the woo, in the manifesting, and in the energetics, and working through the mindset stuff. So we have to go into that, because if we don't believe that we can do it, then you aren't going to take the action. So making sure we have, you know, mindfulness practices, whatever that looks like for you, and consistently kind of breaking through those limiting beliefs that are coming up, because you don't just break through it once and then, woo, we're good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the thing with manifestation that we've talked about before is like this beautiful piece of like envisioning your life and envisioning what you want, but then you also have to like be ready to go for it when you see it.
Yes.
And that sometimes there are people who get caught up too much in the like, it will come knocking on my door. And instead it's like, no, when you get really clearly aligned on what you want for your life, then the opportunities that you know are going to project you into it, you'll see them.
Yeah.
But you still might need to go and say, hey, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of being like, I'll wait for them to ask me to be a part of this. It's like, no, you might need to
Go and do something.
and see and put yourself forward for it. Yeah, absolutely.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you just touched on like breaking through. Sometimes it has to be over and over and over again.
Over
Can you?
and over.
Just expand on that.
There's just so deep rooted sometimes, right? So like, I don't know how old everybody is, but I'm 30. So if I have had this belief for my entire life, and I'm 30 years old, for 30 years, I have truly believed this thing. Do I think that one breakthrough is going to set that free? Absolutely not. So then you have another layer, and then you have another layer. So let's use money, for example. So maybe you have been so comfortable making $3,000 a month, and you finally break through, okay, I can actually make 5, right? And then you get to that point and you're like, oh, well, now this is uncomfortable for me. Then you have to go back to that belief, but on a different level. It's onions.
Well, and
the freaking onions.
I was saying to someone the other day about, I don't know who I was discussing it with, but I was like, it's like working out muscles.
Yes.
And you can't just like go to the gym once and be like in the shape and in the fitness and in the perfect health. Like that's not how it works. You have to go back, and you have to go back again, and you have to like keep revisiting things, and then you'll build up to a certain weight, and then, or a certain, number, and then you put more weight, and all of a sudden you're back at the bottom building back up.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, we have to do that with our minds.
Yes.
And with our beliefs about ourselves. You have to build it and work it. And it's still like your memory and your mind. It's like a muscle group. Like there's actual like pathways that you have to
connect. Yeah.
Like, and this isn't just a one-time thing. And I think that's the one thing I hear from people who are like, oh, I tried therapy once and then I never went back. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably because it was the worst session because it's your first one.
Yeah.
You're the most uncomfortable. You're probably the most guarded and unwilling to hear from a stranger. You have to like go back. You got to like keep working those muscles.
That's one thing I find. One of the biggest things with life coaching in general is people, or even when I was doing fitness coaching, people come to you, they think they'll do a program once and then they'll never do anything again. Personal development and growth is not that.
No, it's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle. I've been journaling and meditating and doing the work for 8+ years now, since I really started to get into this. I do it every day. I have affirmations all over my office, in my house, in my bathroom. I say them. I have the vision board on my phone so I can come back to it. You don't just do it once. You have to keep going. It's just another layer. It's just another level.
Preach.
Seriously, that is such an important thing to say.
Mic drop.
Because
Can't drop it.
yeah, well, and often too in healing, I would say it's obviously it's the same conversation, but it's like, okay, how many times do I have to revisit this before I get better? But I love how you just spoke like, okay, we've removed one layer,
Yeah.
and now we're going to remove another layer, and so that really resonated. I really love the way that you said that.
Yeah. So that's why you'll probably book another call.
She's like, you're going to join the 6-month program.
I've already got you pegged.
That's why I honestly built my membership.
Yeah.
Is so that people can, afford coaching and support at a rate that is very affordable, but also get it continuously.
Yeah.
Because it's never ending.
Yeah. That work just continues to go on. And I think something that, and I don't know, and you can tell me, because like obviously I got introduced to you like a year ago, coming up like this fall-ish, you know what I mean, in your content. So I don't know before that, but I'm like, your content now at least has a portion of it that really focuses on you can be a mother and be successful.
Yes.
And so I don't know if that's something that, you started from the beginning, or as you had Parker, you were like, okay, this is something I'm working through, something I'm seeing with my clients, but I would love for us to tap into that conversation and that piece.
Yeah, I would love to. I just want to finish my process.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Just
Sorry, go
not.
ahead.
No, that's okay.
Please
just
finish.
don't want it to be like, oh, there's just that. But the last part is obviously the aligned action piece.
Yes.
So after the energetics and the mindset part of it, then we have to break down that goal into something that is going to be attainable and sustainable for you, and consistently take action towards it.
Do you find that you sometimes have to micro it down for people?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because then you can actually do it.
Yeah.
Right. So fitness, for example, it's just a really big thing that I think most people can connect with is if you are starting from zero and you go on a plan that's 6 days a week, you're not going to do it.
No.
Let's start with one walk today.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
I've heard it the same even with like New Year's resolutions.
Oh, yeah.
Like people are like, set one for the first 6 months,
Yeah.
and see where you're at. But the problem is people are like making this like list of 20 things, and they do January and then they're completely burnt out by their goals. And instead it's like, you can add I love New Year's resolutions. I think they're very fun. I think it's like a fun way to start the year, but I'm like, I absolutely understand that if you set one and then you reach that goal, there's nothing wrong with like adding a new one halfway through the year.
And the probability of you reaching it when it's one and it's small so that you can actually achieve it is way higher than you setting 20. And then when we don't reach it, we go into shame. What's wrong with me? I suck. Why can't I do this? I never reach my goals.
Yeah.
And we go into that.
It's just not sustainable.
Quickest way to get out of shame.
Quickest way to get... Oh, good question.
And maybe there's not a quick way.
Yeah, I don't think that there is. I think the biggest thing for me when I'm feeling the shame is just awareness of, I am like seeing a lot of shame in myself for this. And, you don't have to. And just kind of really working through it. I'll have to get you a book, or the name of the book. It's about compassion, self-compassion. The best book I ever read about just like really giving yourself that permission and forgiveness and knowing there's nothing wrong with you.
Ooh, yes. Okay, send
I'll
us
find
that.
it.
Yeah. We love a book.
Yeah, I love it. I can't remember the name, but that's okay.
No, that's really good. Summarize for us the 3 steps of the Aligned action. Like the Aligned, the action. Yes. Summarize for us the 3 steps of the Aligned.
Get clear on what it is that you want and why. So that connection piece, and then the energetics and mindset part of it. So breaking through your limiting beliefs and what's holding you back. And then the aligned action. So taking consistent, actionable steps every single day towards what you want.
Amazing. That's so good. So obviously there's a focus a little bit that you work with moms on. You can be a mother and have motherhood and also be successful and have business.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I work with all women, but I think just obviously becoming a mom really naturally, like, you know, you want to talk about it more and you go through your own experiences.
Hey everybody, it's Erica. So I have been after Nick to upgrade his sunglasses for a very long time. His last pair he got was actually after we got engaged, and I bought for him because since he bought me a present, I felt the need to get him something. I actually found the perfect pair and surprised him with them the other day. I ordered these beautiful pair of sunglasses from Jimmy Mac Eyewear, and they look so good on him, you guys. Jimmy Mac Eyewear is a local Canadian company based out of Regina that was founded on the belief that we should not have to struggle to find affordable eyewear, and we shouldn't have to settle for a style we don't love because of cost. When you shop with Jimmy Mac, you don't have to choose between cost and style because they offer a complete unisex collection at affordable prices. And when I say affordable, I mean it. I've actually been wearing their stuff for a really long time and have always been impressed with the prices. All of their eyewear packages start as low as $159 all in. This includes your choice of frame, your lenses, and all standard coatings. You can also choose from prescription or non-prescription polarized sunglasses as well. And you can purchase all of their gorgeous frames with blue light lens, so if you don't wear a prescription, you can still protect your eyes from your screens in style. They have just launched a new website which offers a virtual try-on. This is so great because you can try on all the beautiful styles and really narrow down which you want to order, all from the comfort of your home. You're going to want to head to Jimmy Mac Eyewear on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and go ahead and virtually try on all of the great styles on jimmymac.ca. We're going to link this all in the show notes for you so you can head there and click now.
And before, years ago, when I didn't think that I wanted to be a mom, it was all because I didn't want what I thought I had to have if I became a mom. You have to have a regular 9-to-5 job. You go on maternity leave for a year, and then your baby goes to daycare. And there's nothing wrong with this. I just didn't want it. Your baby goes to daycare, and then you go back to work, and then you go to work for 8 hours a day, maybe more. You come home, you do supper, and then you do bath, and then they go to bed, and that's it. And then you have 3 weeks of vacation to like go do something fun with them. I didn't want that. And I thought that that's what it had to be. I was working for myself. I was personal training. I didn't get a maternity leave. That, you know, I had to do it all myself. And I didn't think that that would be realistic. How do I work from home or go to a studio and have a baby? So I just shut myself down from it. And then eventually, as I started to get more into the personal development and life coaching, I was like, I can do whatever the hell I want to do. And I get to be the type of mom that I want to be, and I get to create the type of motherhood or life that we want for my family and for what we want to do. So doing that myself, obviously tying into that with life coaching, I want moms or people who want to be moms to be able to see, you don't have to do it this way if you don't want to. If you do, that's beautiful, right? But let's do it the way that we want to do it. Well, unapologetically.
Seems like probably so many people that you work with possibly come in, you know, with this societal structure, right? And we've just like, or ingrained, right? And like you said, you've lived 30 years or 20 years or whatever it is, right? For so long, you've just like seen it one way and thought that that's what it has to be. And you haven't stopped to think.
No.
What do I actually want for my life?
Because we're all on autopilot.
Yes.
But I will say this though, I think this is the only one good thing that came from COVID. Is that I do think I'm having conversations with a lot of friends who work like 9-to-5s and are now like, since COVID, I approached my boss and was like, so I can work from home, right? Because like we all did it, that now there's new systems in place for, you know, and also this understanding, like some jobs don't actually take 8 hours. Like,
Not
you know,
at
where
all.
meetings can be an email or a quick Zoom call. Like I think COVID was awful and I like would never want to go back.
I agree,
I do think it gave a glimpse into this idea of like, we can work from home, have a baby on our lap in a Zoom call. It's actually not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Like it's really like all the time in our business, I say, I'll like be on a meeting and I'll quickly say, my child's about to run into the room. I will just quickly mute myself and I excuse myself, and it's fine.
Absolutely.
Because they're like, my kid is also like hanging on my feet and need a snack. So I'm like,
Normalize it.
Let's just normalize the fact that like life is still happening. And I think for so long we put motherhood like over here and like away, and we didn't want to like see it.
Yeah,
Like it was like, it
absolutely.
shouldn't be seen in the workplace.
Because then you're not perfect.
Because then you're not perfect. And now we're being like, and so that's the one thing I think COVID gave us was
I
a
agree.
little bit more of a look into surviving and needing to work from home. And that would look like having our kids interrupt us, because our kids don't care. I tell my kids every time I'm in a meeting, here's your snacks, here's your show. It doesn't matter how much I emphasize I'm in a meeting, they come in.
They want you.
They're like,
they're kids.
my need for a juice box is way more important than your meeting right
Absolutely.
now.
And they are not getting it
And
themselves.
I'm like
No.
doing like this, right? I'm like smiling, and I'm like trying to like push them out of the camera view. And then it's like, I should just get up and get them a juice box.
Hold on, I'm going to get a juice box.
Yeah.
Everyone's fine.
Well,
Yeah.
COVID really disrupted the system.
Absolutely.
Didn't
It
it?
showed us something different. And
Yes.
I think it's beautiful.
Agreed.
Yeah.
You touch base on, you said autopilot. Everyone is on autopilot.
let's
So I'm
dig
like,
into that.
how do we kick out of autopilot? How do we stop? Like what's a couple things we could do?
How do we disrupt the autopilot?
Yes.
Slow down.
Oh.
Stop filling your schedule. Every time I'm working with somebody with their schedule and trying to figure that out, I'm like, you have everything booked. Like, you don't have any white space in your day at all. There's nothing. When do you expect to have time to eat lunch? When do you have time to breathe, to reconnect with yourself? Nobody has taken the time. Nobody isn't like, that's very generalized.
Yes, no, we
understand.
we blanket statement all the time.
Nobody has taken the time to slow down and sit down and be like, what is it that I want in my life? Is this how I want my life to look like? Because we also have to remember that we are evolving every single day. What I wanted 10 years ago is not what I want today, right?
Well, and the busyness, and it's funny because I just came off a week from camp, and this was like the theme that we talked about at camp all week was like busyness and like how that's harming the family dynamic.
Yes.
Because when I was growing up, we did like school sports, it was like first it's basketball, then it's volleyball.
Yeah.
It was like all in seasons, and there was no club, and it was like you skated when there was ice, because that's when there was ice. Right?
Not
like,
at 5 in the
no
morning.
figure.
Well, and not,
Or in
and not
summer.
in January, not in June, when
Yeah.
you could like make like all these things. Like my parents would have never driven me to the city for activities. I lived in a small town. These are the activities you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
But now we're in this space, and Nick and I have been, and I'm not saying we're getting it right, but we've really gone the opposite way. And some people don't agree with that, but we're like, we won't be doing club sports. Like we have like this beautiful acreage, and we go do all these family things, and that's fine. That's for us. It's not for everyone. But I'm like, it's too easy to get into this cycle of we have to do everything. Our kids need to be in every activity, which then leaves no room for yourself. Or you're like, now I need to be in activities too, because I'm trying to balance my own time.
And you have multiple children and multiple activities.
Yeah, like
and
it's just
like,
not, it's actually not sustainable.
No.
Well, and why
Right.
do you think moms are so burnt out and, unhappy? Because they are constantly filling their schedule with everything for everybody else as well.
Well, and it was funny. We were talking with friends a little while ago, because we come from a pretty big, most communities are hockey communities. In
Hey, mine
Saskatchewan,
was.
Right? They're all
Yeah,
hockey
Flin
communities.
Flon.
Flin Flon Bombers, shout out.
And we're like, we're not putting our boys in hockey.
We're not either.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
But also, I was talking to my friend the one day, we were having like a hangout, and I was like, yeah, we're probably not going to put the boys in hockey. Like, all their friends will be in hockey. And he kind of turned to me, he's like, I didn't do hockey. And I'm like, you didn't? Like, why didn't you do hockey? He's like, my parents said no. And I just like looked at him, and he's like, my parents said
That's it.
no, it's too expensive and it's too time consuming. And he's like, and I'm fine. I had a lot of friends.
And here I am.
I am okay.
He's like, I am okay. And for me, it was so freeing, because I think sometimes I will speak from my own perspective. I'm like, I want to give my kids like everything, and I want them to have every opportunity. And now I'm like, at what cost? And does every opportunity mean every activity they want?
Right.
Because what are the opportunities then I'm taking away from them?
Yeah.
Stillness at home, being a family, learning a family skill. Like we go snowboarding, right? Like doing things that are maybe slower pace.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's a great point.
Slow down.
Yeah.
down.
Why does it have to be like you're doing hockey and now it's like you're in hockey? And
Yeah.
if you're in
No, it's like you are hockey.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
you are
why
hockey.
Why can't they just play hockey because they want to? Why can't they just learn to skate and play hockey because they want to on your acreage ice?
yeah.
Why can't that be hockey?
Shinny is more fun anyways.
It's so good.
Sorry,
It's
I just
wild.
am like I'm totally open to being like I am unwilling for that lifestyle. I'm not judging if you choose it.
Right.
If you love it and your kids are thriving, that's great. But I know my family will not thrive.
Yeah.
We won't.
And that just comes back to, what is it that you want? Slowing down and being like, this is what we want for our family. And you also get to change your mind.
Yes.
Right? Like if you don't want that right now, that's great. If your kids are like, Mom, please, I just want to go into hockey, and you get to change your mind, amazing. You get to change your mind on whatever it is. So like, what do you want and what works for you right now? But slow down to ask yourself that question instead of just waking up and going to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing with no blank space to even breathe in your day.
But I think a lot of it has to do with the fear of missing out.
Absolutely.
And the fear of having our children miss out, right? Because all the time we're on this topic, like people are like, well, if you don't put your kid in now, they'll never be able to do it, right? Because they'll be so far behind. And then you as a parent are like, am I cutting my kid off at the knees?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go and commit to that.
Yeah.
But I think there is a piece of selfishness that, and I was just talking about this yesterday with a friend, that like sometimes you need a little bit of selfishness.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're just gonna burn out completely.
Yeah,
right.
I'm talking about this with some of my mama clients right now in terms of, daycare, working from home, but putting them in daycare. And we just are putting Parker in part-time daycare starting in September. And you bet I've had people be like, oh, you don't you work from home? I work from home.
How are you supposed to work if your kids there?
I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I am right now.
Yeah.
But I am not a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to be. That job is way harder.
Yes.
Like good for those mamas to do that. That's just not what I want to do. So there's that guilt of, okay, now I'm taking away from him because I am not going to be at home with him all day. And then that mom guilt creeps in. But the reality is me choosing that for myself, for my work, for my well-being, for our family is actually benefiting him. Because are you going to be like the mom that you want to be if your kids are in hockey at 6 a.m. and then at 8 a.m. 6 days a week?
Yeah.
Maybe that sounds terrible to you.
Yeah.
I think too, the piece of sending, I remember the first day of daycare for Ash, and it was like a half day. We eased into it.
Yeah, we're in it
it
too.
was one day, and then it was 2 days, and then it was 3 days. But too, like you look at your time and you become so intentional with the time that you have. And I remember being like, well, what do I do now? Like I got everything done so fast because I didn't have a baby on my hip and like whatever. But the thing that really helped me too was like we're giving him the gift of learning how to regulate with other children, how to share, how to like play all day. They get to go play and learn and have fun. And it's just like, it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
That somebody runs a daycare and like gives children that opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
How many of your clients come to you think they have like this big block and it's actually just like so many tiny little ones?
All the time.
All of them.
All the time. Yeah. I think one of the biggest blocks is we also think we have a block when really it can just be a shift in perspective, right?
Okay.
Or
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Because limiting beliefs and these blocks are like this big thing, right? And it's very, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's a hot topic.
Oh, yes, yes.
So everyone's like, I have limiting beliefs, which we do.
Is a buzzword.
Yeah, buzzword. Thank you.
It's kind of like authenticity right now and all
alignment,
that.
Yes.
Right? So everyone thinks that they have a block, which we do, but sometimes the biggest block is sitting there being like, I have a block. Instead of
You're blocking yourself.
Instead of just buying the daycare and being like, I'll just keep him home today.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't really a block. You just needed to look at it different.
Is there a permission piece in that a lot?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Go off.
Yeah, my clients, they will be so stuck in this place of, but it has to be like this, but it has to be like this. Well, you get to do whatever it is why can't you pay for it and not send him? Right? Because that's not normal. Why would you do that? That's what people are going to say.
Yeah.
Why would you pay for that?
Why would you waste money?
Yeah. Why would you waste money? Is it wasting money or is that just what you think of it? Right? Is that my projection onto you because of how I feel about money? right? So can you give yourself permission to just do it the way that you want to do?
That's so good.
Yeah, I really, really like that. I think the permission piece is really, really big with people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
And I'm just thinking about how earlier you spoke about when you called your best friend from home and
Yeah.
she gave you permission.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah. And that really stood out to me because it's just like sometimes we want something so bad, but we need, like, these girls give me permission all the time, right? Without even realizing it,
Yeah.
right? You just need that permission slip from somebody else, or that validation of like, you want that, you can do that.
You can have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also see it a lot when people, you know, they're living a good life or they are happy, but they want more. Right? There's a lot of guilt.
Oh, yeah.
That's associated with that.
Like, I should be content.
I should be grateful for everything that I have. I can't want more because I have a roof over my head. I have beautiful children. I have money in my account. I have this and that. Like, I shouldn't want more. And you can be grateful for everything that you have and appreciate everything that you have and still give yourself permission to want more in your life. That is okay.
Yeah.
That's really good. I think that something that, like, a topic that's come up on the podcast that we've talked about a bit, and I think I would really like to hear your opinion, and I think our listeners would too. I don't have kids, so I don't really have anything to say on this topic, but I would love to know your thoughts on mom guilt. And I'm sure that comes up with some of your clients, and what you think about it, how you work through that, like your view on it.
Yeah. So my views after becoming a mom are very different.
Can we dig in on that?
Yeah, well, before I think it's like, oh, it's okay. There's nothing to feel guilty about. And now I'm like, you're gonna feel guilty. So
There's actually lots to feel guilty about.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like there is.
There absolutely is. Anything that you're doing, really, right? Unless it's all on them. I think we just automatically feel that guilt. And so the biggest thing for me is not trying to not feel guilty anymore, right? Unpopular opinion, but like, you're just gonna feel guilty. Stop trying to get rid of that guilt.
Well, it's like trying to go against the tide.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you feel guilty because you're a good ass mom.
Yeah.
You care and you want them to be the best that they can be, and you want to give them your full attention, but you are just one human and you can't do it all at once. So feel that guilt and know that it's okay if that guilt's there, but going back to feel the fear and do it anyway. Just because you feel guilty doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's bad. Just because you have that fear or that resistance doesn't mean it's wrong, doesn't mean it's bad, right? So if you feel guilty leaving your kids for 30 minutes to go work out, or you just worked a full day and then you want to go to the gym, but your kids have been at daycare all day or they've been at school and you want to see them, right? I get that. You're going to feel guilty.
Well, and the piece for me is that it doesn't, like, mom guilt, and I wish my phone is recording, otherwise I'd read it, because I posted about mom guilt being in Calgary, and Lisa Gray posted something really good.
did.
She
I saw
posted
that.
something really good, and now I'm
so
like,
good.
go look at my posts because I can't. It's over there. But I think a big piece is also like just guilt in general, and we've labeled it as mom guilt because we're mothers. But I'm like, I find that it's like, it doesn't matter if I'm like, okay, I'm feeling really guilty, I need to be with my kids. So then I'm with my kids, and now I've like maybe sacrificed or now haven't gone to the gym, and now I feel guilty for not going. Like, I'm like,
It just switched.
it just switches. And I'm like, not to say that it's hopeless and like, no matter what, you're going to feel guilty. But I'm like, if you can get to a place where you understand that on a day-to-day, as a woman, you might feel this way, but you don't have to sit in it. And, you know, we're big believers in ebb and flow. And we're like, there are some days I'm going to like rock star mom and let myself fall to the wayside. And then there's some days I'm going to like take care of myself really great, and my family will fall to the wayside. And as long as I'm like understanding that that's going to happen, it's okay.
Yeah. You're
Right?
doing your best.
Yeah.
You're doing your absolute best.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wanna ask one more
Last
thing before we
question.
start to wrap up, and because you mentioned your habits, I really want you to tell us, like, what are your micro habits that you do every day that like really make a difference for you?
So if I go long-term scale,
'Kay.
I plan my week out every week.
Yes.
Like commitment to myself. And
What day do you plan it out on?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
I'm
say
like, no.
I thought
Sunday.
you were going to be like Fridays and Sundays.
I actually do it on Fridays, like me
Okay.
personally, but
Yeah.
the day that I do it on,
day for you
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what I'm asking,
I'm
not
like,
other
doesn't
people.
matter.
No, I'm
No.
like, do you have a day?
but if you were to,
That was a big one.
if you were to like ask yourself when you wanted to plan, like just do the day that works for you.
Yeah.
I don't really like giving specifics of how long I meditate or how long I work
Right.
out, because I never want people to think that they have to do all of that or do it the way, because what I do isn't going to work for you.
Yeah.
But I do it on Fridays.
Great.
And I plan my whole week out, and what I do is put my stuff in first.
Yeah, girl.
Okay. And is that your calls, your
I walk my dog.
Okay. Workout.
That's
Yeah.
your
Your
my
meditation.
workout, my walk, my dog walk, and my morning flow is what I like to call it.
tell us what the morning flow is.
So then every day morning flow is, it used to be all of the things, honestly, like before I was a mom.
Yeah.
Now it's whatever I can do. But honestly, he sleeps. I get a whole hour to myself now.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's beautiful. But I will journal first thing. So I go work out for 30 minutes and then I will journal and then maybe meditate or read a book, whatever I have time for after that. But usually journaling is like my number one. And if I have time to play around, I'll do like card pulling and things like that. But always exercise, walk my dog, and journal. Like
Those are like your non-negotiables.
Anything
Okay.
else is like plus. I will pull out like a meditation or something like that if I feel I need it. Or if I feel like don't need it, then
Yeah.
I'm like, I absolutely need it.
yeah. I don't want to do that. I'll
Yeah.
press play.
I need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say those are like the non-negotiables. But planning my week really sets me up for success and just being intentional with what I'm doing. My stuff goes in first. Every time. And then my clients will book in calls and then I go all around that.
I love
love
that.
that.
We always like to ask a final question, which you know because you listen to the podcast.
It
What-
changes though. I was like, what are they going to ask?
Maybe I'll just throw.
Oh.
Let's throw a new one at her. No, I'm just kidding. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given or that you like to give to people?
I got to pull from my Papa vault.
Yeah,
Yes.
do it. Please do.
One of the things that he always said that really stuck with me was there are two types of people in the world, and they are a kickstart or a self-start, and you are a self-start.
That's good.
Explain the difference.
Self-start would be someone who
Thinking of a dirt bike. I'm so
I know, me
sorry.
too.
I'm literally
No, me
like
too.
I'm not.
I
I'm
literally
not
was
thinking about,
picturing
like,
kickstarting my bike.
Yeah.
literally his words, and that's how he would talk. And self-start would be someone who gets up in the morning, makes their bed. You know, they don't necessarily need someone to help them get ready to go out the door.
Got it.
You can do things
Oh,
yourself.
you need like a kick in the pants.
And
or
then
you
the
can do
kick
it
in the butt.
yourself.
Yeah. So a kickstart is someone who like needs that kick in the butt, which I mean, you know, we all do sometimes.
Time and again, yeah.
But I am very disciplined. I think that that's what it comes down to is like your self-start. You know what you want. You
Same.
can take action to go and get it. And you don't need anyone to hold your hand along the way.
I love it. So good. Okay. Tell all of our community where they can find you and how they can work with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my Instagram is Coaching with Court. That's where I hang out most of my time.
Go
And
follow you guys. She's got really great
So
content.
good.
thank you. And then you can work with me one-on-one in like private life coaching, or you can join my memberships. I don't know when this is coming out, but August 15th is when we are launching the membership. Queen's Club.
Queen's Club.
Amazing, you guys. Get
Love
in
it.
contact with her if you're looking to get unstuck.
Yes.
Heck
And
yeah.
work through some things.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us today,
Thank
Courtney.
you,
We
Courtney.
appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a blast.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode of the Her Podcast. If you want to follow along with us, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at its.her.podcast. We can't wait to see you there.
Bye.
Adios.